It's that time again for another segment of the stupid shit kids do, starring me. And of course, my father being involved in every single thing, every stupid thing I ever did, he was somehow involved. So today we're going to talk about the infamous Kawasaki Spectra 750 story. All right, so I think I was around 17-ish at this time. It had been another beautiful summer day. And we were all hanging out at this kid Tom's house. I'm gonna just refer to people in their first names in this. And we're having a good time, drinking some beers. At this point, you're starting to say, "Oh, I'm starting to see a pattern, Jerry." We were partying all day, and we used to hang around in this neighborhood in Methuen, Oakland Avenue. And we were at my friend Joanne's house, and one of our friends was there. He had just got this brand new, beautiful Kawasaki Spectra 750 motorcycle. It was it's pretty hot. It was a hot motorcycle, especially at that time. It's a big bike, 750. Now I had, growing up, all my friends had dirt bikes or mini bikes, dirt bikes, whatever. So I was pretty accustomed to, I knew how to drive a motorcycle with the clutch and the gears and all that. I was actually pretty good at it. I wasn't as crazy as my other friends, doing the crazy dirt bike stuff that they used to do. But I knew what I was doing as far as driving a motorcycle. But I did admittingly have a pretty good buzz. So we were in Joanne's kitchen. I remember saying to this kid, Kevin, "Wow, man, that's a sweet ride you got there, man." He goes, "Yeah, you want to take it for a ride?" I was like, "Yeah, that sounds awesome." So, he gives me the keys, and he did say, "Look, be careful, Jerry." And I'm like, "Don't worry, man, I'm good." So I get going, riding this. I don't have my motorcycle license, mind you. And I don't even think I had my driver's license yet. So I take this bike out, beautiful, beautiful summer day, feeling great. I got a buzz going, and I'm buzzing down the streets of Methuen, in and out of, streets, having an awesome time. I was in a great mood. And I came up on this particular area in Methuen called Temple Drive. And they had just put in, they just put in all new roads and new housing. At the time, me and my friends, whenever we walk across town, we'd have to cut through this area. It's now houses, new roads, and I'm buzzing down the road. I'm actually getting into it, in and out of the turns, and I'm going pretty quick. I'm going about 30 miles an hour, and I hit a patch of sand that was on the road because of the construction. And I literally went down on my side and slid about 150 yards. It smashed the bottom part of the motorcycle, and it literally took off all the skin on my forearm and on my knees. I was covered in blood all over me. I look around, I don't see anybody, so I pick the bike up and start it. It started. I got blood dripping down all over me, and I get going. I'm like, oh no, I gotta bring this back. Kevin's gonna kill me. Oh my God. So I get all the way back to Joanne's house, and I ride up and I park the bike outside, and I walk in the house, and they're all in there. They're drinking. They're also drinking, having a good time. And they take one look at me, and they were like, what the fuck? It looked like I was in a major car accident. And Kevin goes, what happened? I go, oh man, I got to show you something. So we go out there, and he's looking at it, and the bottom crank shaft of the motor had cracked when it went down. The bike still was able to drive, and it actually drove relatively well, almost like there was nothing wrong with it, to be honest. But that part had cracked. It was a very important part of the engine. And he sees the crack, and he looks at me, and he's like, what the fuck, man? I told you to be careful. So I'm like, fuck. So I go home that night. I don't say anything to my father, because there's another stupid fucking thing I did. But I had to work with my dad the next day doing masonry. And halfway through the day, I said, we were working down the street at this guy Dick Gregory's house. I said, Dad, I have to tell you something. I got into an accident. Because I had been covering myself up so he didn't see the freaking road rash all over me. And so I told him what happened. And, you know, he just looks at me and he's like, Jenny, way on. I don't even know what way on means. I think it means what the fuck in French. I don't know. Way on. What is wrong with you? I go, Dad, I got into an accident with this motorcycle, and I broke the kid's motorcycle. And he's like, Jenny, you need to pay him back. You gotta do the right thing. So I get a hold of the kid a couple of days later, and I said, look, let me know how much it's gonna cost. And he ended up coming back and saying, yeah, it's gonna be around $1,100, $1,100 or so. I'm like, oh fuck, how am I gonna come up with that kind of money? My dad had started paying me like $10 an hour when I was working with him. So I was making $80, $90 a day, and I'm thinking, man, it's gonna take me forever to pay this kid back. So my dad says, look, we're gonna go down to the bank and we're gonna take out a loan so you can pay this kid back, and then you're gonna have to work to pay back the loan. So me and my dad go down to Lawrence. I forget what the name of the bank was, but we both go in there, and my dad talks to the bank manager, sits us down, and we take a loan out for, I think it was $1,100. And my dad had to co-sign, because I couldn't have got that loan. I was a freaking stupid 17-year-old kid. So I end up getting the check that day. They cut me a check right there, and I had to get this to the kid so he could get his bike fixed. So the kid I ended up finding him. He gave him the check, and he was like, thanks, man, I appreciate that. I'm sorry about that, but I gotta get my bike fixed. So I worked my ass off all freaking summer, again, to pay off this loan. And the kid got the bike fixed. I saw that kid, a month later. He was on the bike. He was driving it. He got it fixed. It looked fine. It was good. Everything was good. But I had to pay that loan back, and I did. So many years later, now, in fact, I was in the military, and I came home on leave. And I was home. This is like 5 years later. My friend Mickey drives down my house in Methuen, and he happened to be on that same motorcycle. And I go, oh my God, that's Kevin's motorcycle. And he's like, yeah, man, I bought it off him a couple years ago. I'm like, shit, dude, I had to pay him $1,100 to fix that thing. He goes, what? It didn't cost $1,100. I think he paid like $400. I'm like, what the fuck? So, another lesson learned in responsibility from my father, him encouraging me to go do the right thing. We got to get a loan. I had to pay back the loan. I had to work to pay back the loan. I did the right thing by paying that kid, even though he fucking screwed me over. I didn't say anything to, my friend Mickey. I go, whatever, dude. What's done is done. So again, lessons learned in a couple of different ways. So that's another fucking stupid story of stupid shit us kids do. God rest my father's soul. Today's his birthday. He would have been 93. So I know he's up there in heaven looking down, just shaking his head, hoping I don't do anything stupid. He's up there going, well, Jenny, there's such a thing as crazy, All right, so happy birthday, Dad. I love you. If you guys have kids, don't let them do stupid shit. Because someday they're going to come back and talk about it. All right, I got to go. Have a good weekend.